Girl in the Ashes. Chapter 4. Father is coming home today, at least he promised it was today. Everyone is excited about his arrival as always. There's no big party for him this time, just us. Clara and Tessa admit that they are ecstatic about his return home so they can hear his adventure stories. However, they also confess they want the fabrics he promised so Nariel can make their dresses. The ball is in 2 days, and I still don't know how Nariel does it. Even if I help her, completing the task seems impossible. The house is prepped for Prince Edward's servant, who will come the day after the ball. It was a lot of painting on my part and cleaning too. I hope once I say I'm not interested in the prince, the servant will focus on Tessa and Clara. Rumor is though the servant enjoys helping out around the house. For that reason I will still have to talk to them and deal with their questions. I sit on the wet floor, holding a rag while listening to Tessa sing. Though I've cleaned the floor twice today, Lady Harriet insists I do it again to ensure it's spotless. Another reason I never liked living in Amishi. Nothing can be good, okay, or average. It had to be perfect. In my case, perfectly clean. This is impossible for a floor because, within a minute, someone leaves behind grime. The calmness of the household flies away when there's a knock at the door. I get up and leave the rag to answer it with everyone following me. I open the door, expecting to see Father. Instead, we see Jeb looking panicked. "It's your father. He's at the market. He was buying a gift when he suddenly dropped to the ground." He stammers. I open the door wider and we all crowd outside. "Please tell me he isn't dead," I say. Jeb shakes his head. "No, he's not dead. But no one knows what's wrong with him. Better come quickly." Lady Harriet tells the other 2 girls to stay while she and I go with Jeb. They nod and grimly walk back into the house, watching us leave in Jeb's cart. Jeb rides fast and hard. He almost pushes too hard on the horse, but the horse gets us there in one piece. And just as fast as we got on, we get off. There is a circle formed in the square, and I can only guess Father is in the center. Lady Harriet and I push through the crowd. A priest is kneeling over him trying to figure out what's wrong. It doesn't look like it's going so well. I don't know what's happening, but he's fading quickly, the priest says. Lady Harriet and I kneel with him and look down at Father. He smiles when he sees us, my dears. I take his hand as Lady Harriet strokes his face. "Don't leave, darling. I won't have another husband leave me." He hushes her. "The Creator will watch over you." "And what of your daughter? You know her fate if you go." Allah doesn't decide one's fate. Ella is the only one to decide her own. "I still won't allow you to go." "You can't," Lady Harriet says to him, crying. Her choking sobs make it sound like she is the one dying. "Tell us a story about your trip," I say. "I bet it's beautiful down in Baldwin." He squeezes my hand. "Good idea, princess." He thinks for a moment. "Ah yes, the landing pad. They drop you down a chute to a funny little pad that is hard to get off. It was like walking on jelly, but suddenly it turned solid. It was quite fascinating." He laughs through the pain. "I'm sure glad Bree made peace with humans. Otherwise I couldn't get such fine fabric for my girls." He coughs a little and points at where the carriage is, there and there. "I hope all of you make room for happiness. I love you so much." "Thank you, Harriet, for being a tender and loving companion. And Ella, I couldn't ask for a greater daughter. You were always a proper lady in my eyes, a beautiful princess. Promise me you will not hide forever." "Father, this was supposed to be a happy story," I sob. "You can't make death disappear by pretending it's all right." "But death isn't the end. You said that Mother went to a special place where she would never die again. You must pray for my food then. Tell him my favorite is," he says, death stopping his final request. Lady Harriet buries herself in his chest, which will never rise or fall again. I finish his sentence. "Mother's apple pie." 2 men assigned to carry the dead away take Father without saying a word. I watch as they lay a sheet of white fabric over his corpse. The crowd slowly departs. I hug Lady Harriet and we cry until someone taps my shoulder. It's a royal officer, which can only mean they want to rub it in my face that I will be a servant or in reality, a slave. Ella, unless you have a godmother or godfather, you shall hereby be a servant to the land until you turn 20 or are wed. Provide this documentation to us by tomorrow and you'll be able to avoid the procedure. If not, you will be assigned to a household, the royal officer says. Lady Harriet stands, hugging me protectively. I am the girl's stepmother. Surely that counts for something. The official sighs, handing us the written statement, only if her father named you as her godmother. He then walks away, clearly hating his job. We scan the document, and sure enough, a step-parent doesn't count unless the biological parent has named them the child's godparent. It's beyond ridiculous, especially in my case. Are they really going to put me into servitude for a single year if we can't find father's will before tomorrow? Lady Harriet crumples the paper and shoves it into her dress pocket. We'll find his will before noon. I'm sure of it. Let's go back and tell the girls. We head to father's abandoned carriage. In ways, we didn't want to ride it back home, but it had all of father's supplies and the horses look exhausted. I give them some water before we head out. We both sit in the driver's seat of the carriage. Also in the front, we found the fabrics, shells, and pearls. They are the finest fabrics I've ever seen. The materials match a mermaid's scales. At least Clara and Tessa will be happy about something. I gently snap the reins of the carriage. As I said, the horses are tired, and I don't want to wear them out more than I have to. I realize the slow ride will cut into my time to search for the contract signed by father, but I don't even know if it exists. All we can rely on is faith that it does. After mother's passing, surely father assigned someone to be my godparent in his will. The carriage pulls up to the house and Tessa and Clara run out without question. They see the look on our faces and know father is gone. We mourn together for a while. Tears and hugs pass around until we are calm. Girls, there is something we must find, and we cannot stop till it's discovered. Because Ella is unmarried and not 20, she will be considered the property of the kingdom. However, if we can find Charles's will or any proof of a designated godparent, then she will not become a servant. Lady Harriet says to Tessa and Clara, batting her tears away so they may save me from my awful fate. Clara nods, anything for Ella. Tessa bows, of course, mother. We'll do the best we can and better. We scour his study first, but there is no such paper. Next, we check his room, the small library, all the drawers in the kitchen, until we get so desperate to check every bedroom. We find nothing. I collapse to the floor, clutching a document that only states the house will remain in Lady Harriet's care before passing it down to me. It had to be here somewhere. Father would have prepared for something like this. He knew how fragile life could be. I bite my lip, holding back tears. It would only be for a year. After that I could work for Neriel. Or maybe I could serve a year under Lady Harriet and stay here. Sure, I wouldn't be able to go to the ball or be a court lady, but I'm not interested anyway. I just miss father. How could he be dead? Could they not spare me the time to mourn before throwing this at me?
An irritated shriek brings me out of my stupor. Tessa throws a pile of business transactions. There's nothing in here. No, we've got to keep looking. Clara objects. I stand, realizing that it's late and emotions are high. It's all right. I have faith that things will turn out for the best. There's nothing more we can do. We should stop and go to bed. I'll give the fabrics to Neriel and then come back shortly. The ball is an important event, especially with father gone. It isn't just my future that is cause for concern. Without father, the money we have won't last. Lady Harriet hushes me, no child. I'll deliver the fabrics to Neriel. You should sleep. I'll find us a way out of this mess. She starts to walk, then I say, can I ask you a favor? If we don't find anything, will you purchase me tomorrow? She smiles, of course. My last resort was to buy you, Ella. I would never allow you to be taken away from us, and I am appalled that being your stepmother isn't enough to claim you. But yes, I'll do what you ask. She turns away and heads out the door to Neriel's. Tessa and Clara look at me sorrowfully before we head to bed. Tessa goes to her room. Clara and I enter ours. We get dressed in our nightgowns, which is a first for me for who knows how long. You won't be sleeping by the fireplace tonight, are you? Clara asks as we get into our beds. I shake my head. The bed feels welcoming, so I don't think I will. But how did you know about the fireplace? She laughs. We all knew. Mother says not to pester you about it, but that's why Tessa calls you Cinderella. It's mean, but Cinderella sounds pretty. Don't you think? I shrug. I suppose it does when you don't think about what cinder means. Tessa will always be a character, won't she? Clara giggles. Yes, she will. Good night, Ella. May the morning bring us sunshine. She blows the last candle out and the room goes dark. I don't go to sleep right away though. I think to myself how grateful I am for Clara, Tessa, and Lady Harriet. I've never realized how much they meant to me or how much I meant to them. Tessa does have her flaws, but there have been times when we bonded. She's still a kind person once you get past the drama and attention-seeking side. Just before my eyes fall, I remember what Father said. I'm supposed to pray for him. So in my bed, I pray. Dear Creator, please bless Father and Mother who are now in your care. Please make sure that Father gets Mother's apple pie. She'd love to make it, I'm sure. Thank you for it and please bless it. I still have faith that things will work out. Amen. I let my eyes close after that, surprised to find tears squeezing past. I thought the lakes had run dry from my previous bawling. Somehow I enter a dream. In the dream, I'm lucky when the only people who want to buy me are Neriel and Lady Harriet. What bothers me is the two wouldn't back down. Neriel seems determined not to let Lady Harriet win. An officer brings me down to Neriel once she pays the price for me. They claim they'll give that money back to the child once they turn 20 and then some, but everyone knows the taxes take a scoop into that amount.
Neriel hugs me. Watch yourself. Things will not go this way. Stay strong, Ella. Stay strong. Ella, I need to talk to you, I hear Lady Harriet whisper outside my dream. I open my eyes to bright morning light while Lady Harriet stands over my bed. What is it? I ask, propping myself up in my bed. I was worried about having enough coins to buy you today, but Neriel and I made an arrangement. She said she would help. I embrace Lady Harriet, thank you so much. I know you won't fail me. She hugs back, brushing through my hair with her fingers. Of course, you are like a daughter to me. I will never give up on seeing you through difficult times. However, you did sleep in and it's near noon. Better make yourself some breakfast. They want you in the square by an hour. We let go of each other and I jump out of bed. She leaves the room so I can get dressed. Clara isn't in the room, so I assume she ate breakfast a long time ago. I head out of the bedroom once I'm satisfied with my look. I want to appear as an unsuitable servant so people aside from Lady Harriet will want me to serve them. Then I go downstairs to eat. I am surprised to find someone made breakfast for me. It must have been Clara since her specialty is toast and that's what was available, but I appreciate her making me some. It's not too bad either. The butter she used melted right into the bread with cinnamon on the top. Several minutes pass and I don't see anyone else. I wonder where they went. Just as I get up to check, the front door opens. Clara, Tessa, and Lady Harriet come in carrying two lovely dresses. They are clearly made from Baldwin's fabric, but how in the world did Neriel get them finished in just one night? Neriel outdid herself this time. How did she make these so quickly? They look flawless as well. I exclaim, examining them. Clara smiles brightly. No one knows how she does it. She just does. They actually look like mermaid fins. See how the fabric scales from the waist down look like a tail and then the string shells as the sleeves? Lady Harriet calms Clara. Happiness is good, Clara, but we need to take care of things before we can relax. Are you ready to go, Ella? I breathe out my mouth. Yes, I am ready. Lady Harriet turns to Tessa and Clara. We will be back, girls. Make sure that you practice first, then you can try on your dresses. They nod solemnly and run off with suppressed excitement. I wish they would freely express their happiness, especially after yesterday. Sometimes it is best to live in the moment and be hopeful for the future. Lady Harriet and I take father's carriage to the square. We wait for a while. I'm not the only one being sold today, but unlike me, most are younger kids. This whole thing makes me sick inside, but according to the king, it gets children off the streets. However, in cases like mine, it seems unnecessary when I'm considered an adult and have a stepmother willing to take care of me. No, it is just about the tax money at this point. A royal officer sees me and drags me to the front. He pushes hard at my back and I stumble forward. From behind me he says, "Who wants this precious jewel, that will indeed be worth the money? Still young and strong. We'll start with 30 gold coins." Lady Harriet raises her hand. 30 gold coins, Lady Harriet. Anyone for 35? Someone raises their hand for 35. Anyone for 40? Lady Harriet raises her hand again. Anyone for 45? Another person raises their hand. Lady Harriet then raises her hand again saying 50. The officer from behind nods and says, 50 going once. 50 going. A man raises his hand, 80 gold coins for the girl. Lady Harriet doesn't back down and shouts, 100 gold coins. I'm now the price of a horse, lucky me. No one counteroffers, so the officer shouts, 100 going once, 100 going twice, 100 going 3 times, and sold. To Lady Harriet for 100 gold coins. I breathe out a sigh of relief. I walk over to Lady Harriet and thank her over and over. She brushes my thankfulness aside as she gives the gold coins to a royal official. Next to the official, a scribe records my name, Lady Harriet's, and how much I was worth. Once I'm 20, I'll get around 50 coins for my troubles. Let's go home, she says, grabbing one of my shoulders. We walk together to the carriage. She steps inside while I take the driver's seat. We head back home. I can finally stop feeling so panicked. I have a feeling though that being a servant will still change things for me. Now I can't attend social events. Not that it ever mattered to me. The dream is what gave me a sense of dread. I fear Lady Harriet, Tessa, and even Clara will treat me differently. I am no longer their equal. I'm right. As soon as we reach the house, Lady Harriet orders me to open the carriage door for her. I do it without question. If there's any way to show that I'm still grateful, it's following her orders. The more I follow orders though, the more I feel like she'll see me as a servant, but she's done so much for me. I decide not to let it bother me. Tessa and Clara come out in their new dresses. They look like real mermaids. Tessa wears pearls around her neck and in her hair. Clara wears mostly shells in her hair and around her neck. I can't decide who Prince Edward will spot first. He most definitely will see both of them and marvel at their beauty. The plan worked. Elle is still with us. Clara shouts, running over to hug me. I am ready for her embrace, but Lady Harriet holds a hand out to her daughter. Remember, she is a servant now, Clara. I'm not saying to be disrespectful or expect her to do everything. Lady Harriet glances at Tessa. But, while in public, it would be unbecoming to see a lady so frivolously display affection for her maid. Now, the funeral will be held later today, so please get changed. Tessa briefly looks my way before going inside, but Clara stands still while swallowing slowly. I can see on her face that she is holding back tears by the way she tightens her lips. Father's death has brought more than the pain of losing him and future income, but the loss of our sisterhood. If we lived in any other kingdom, it would not be this way. Finally, after Lady Harriet says Clara's name directly, Clara heads inside. Her feet carry her quickly out of view. Lady Harriet sighs, I'm sorry, but we all know the rules. If my girls are to get married, they must follow them. You should also change. We can't have you dressed higher than your current station, or else we'll have more trouble on our doorstep. Yes, I suppose life doesn't go the way you plan, I say without argument as I go inside to change clothes. Unlike Mother's funeral, Father only has a select few attend. There is a single vase of flowers, seeing as Lady Harriet needs to save the money. It is dismal and there are no speeches. We simply bury him next to my mother, and the worst part is I am no longer anyone's daughter. I am alone, and I finally regret sidestepping my place in court. If I had been married, I would have been safe. However, we all assumed father would have a long life. And now Ella is dead too.